Maya Johnson walked through the busy downtown streets, carrying 2 heavy grocery bags. She wore a simple blue dress and comfortable shoes. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat ponytail. To everyone around her, she looked like any other woman, going about her daily shopping. But Maya was not like other people. Hidden beneath her quiet appearance was a woman who had served 8 years as an Army Ranger. She had completed 3 tours in Afghanistan and 2 in Iraq. She knew how to handle weapons that most people had never seen. She could run 20 miles without stopping. She could survive in the desert for weeks with nothing but basic supplies. Maya had returned home to Riverside 6 months ago. She wanted a peaceful life after years of war. She worked part-time at the local library and volunteered at the animal shelter on weekends. She lived alone in a small apartment near the river. Her neighbors knew her as the quiet woman who always said hello but never talked much about herself. As Maya walked past the old community center, she heard shouting. A group of people had gathered in the parking lot. She could see they were angry about something. Maya tried to walk past quickly. She did not want any trouble. Peace was all she wanted now. But then she heard a woman crying for help. Maya stopped walking. Her military training kicked in automatically. She set down her grocery bags and looked at the situation carefully. A young mother was standing near a broken-down car. She held a baby in her arms. 3 older children stood close to her. They all looked scared. 6 men in dirty clothes surrounded the family. They were shouting mean things at the woman. One man was waving his hands angrily. Another was kicking the side of her car. The woman was trying to calm her crying baby while protecting her other children. Maya watched from a distance. She counted the men. She looked at their positions. She checked for weapons. This was something she had done thousands of times in combat zones. Her mind automatically planned different ways to handle the situation. The woman with the baby was young, maybe 25 years old. She wore a colorful headscarf and a long dress. Her children were between 5 and 10 years old. They stayed close to their mother, but Maya could see they were very frightened. One of the men stepped closer to the family. He was big and had tattoos covering his arms. He pointed his finger at the woman and said very cruel things about where she came from. He told her she did not belong in their neighborhood. The other men laughed and agreed with him. Maya felt anger growing inside her chest. She had fought alongside soldiers from many different countries. She had seen good people help each other during the worst times. She had protected innocent families just like this one. She could not stand by and watch bullies hurt people who could not defend themselves. The woman tried to get her children into the broken car, but the big man blocked her way. He put his hand on the car door and slammed it shut. The baby started crying louder. The other children began to cry too. Maya made her decision. She walked toward the group with steady steps. Years of military training had taught her to stay calm in dangerous situations. Her heart was beating fast, but her breathing was controlled. She looked relaxed, but every muscle in her body was ready for action. The men did not notice Maya at first. They were too busy scaring the family. Maya got within 10 feet of them before the big man saw her coming. He turned around and looked at Maya with mean eyes. He was at least 6 feet tall and probably weighed 200 pounds. His arms were thick with muscle. He had an ugly scar across his left cheek. Maya was 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighed 130 pounds. Next to this man, she looked very small. The big man smiled in a nasty way. He thought Maya would be easy to scare away. He did not know that Maya had taken down enemy soldiers twice his size. He did not know that she had earned medals for bravery in combat. He did not know that she had trained for years to fight people who wanted to hurt innocent people. The big man walked toward Maya. His friends stopped bothering the family and turned to watch. They thought it would be fun to see their leader scare away this small woman in a dress. Maya stood perfectly still. She kept her hands at her sides. She did not look angry or scared. She looked like someone who was completely in control of the situation. The big man stopped right in front of Maya. He was so close she could smell his bad breath. He looked down at her and laughed. "You should keep walking, lady," he said in a rough voice. "This is none of your business." Maya looked up at him calmly. Her voice was quiet but very clear. "Let the family go to their car," she said. "They have not done anything wrong." The man laughed louder. His friends joined in. They thought Maya was making a joke, or what, he asked. "What are you going to do about it, little lady?" Maya did not answer with words. Instead, she took one small step forward. Something in her eyes changed. The big man suddenly felt uncomfortable. He had seen that look before in the eyes of dangerous people. But this was just a woman in a dress. How dangerous could she be? He reached out to push Maya away from him. It was the biggest mistake he would ever make. What happened next would change everything. The quiet woman who just wanted to buy groceries was about to show these bullies what a real soldier could do. Maya moved faster than anyone expected. When the big man reached out to push her, she grabbed his wrist with both hands. In one smooth motion, she twisted his arm and stepped to the side. The man found himself face down on the ground before he understood what had happened. His friends stared in shock. The small woman in the blue dress had just put their strongest friend on the pavement in less than 2 seconds. The big man tried to get up, but Maya kept his arm twisted behind his back. Any movement caused him sharp pain. "Stay down," Maya said calmly. "I do not want to hurt you more than I have to." The other 5 men looked at each other with confusion. They could not believe what they had just seen. Their leader was groaning on the ground while a woman half his size held him there with one hand. One of the other men stepped forward. He was younger than the others and had angry red marks on his face. He pulled a knife from his pocket and pointed it at Maya. "Let him go right now," the young man shouted, "or I will cut you." Maya looked at the knife without fear. She had faced much worse weapons in combat. Enemy soldiers had shot at her with machine guns. They had thrown grenades at her position. A simple pocket knife did not scare her at all. "Put the knife away," Maya said in the same calm voice. "Walk away now and no one gets hurt." The young man laughed nervously. He waved the knife in the air to try to frighten Maya, but she did not move or change her expression. She kept the big man pinned to the ground with her left hand. Her right hand stayed free and ready. "You think you are a tough lady," the young man said, "but you cannot fight all of us." Maya had learned long ago that bullies only understood strength. These men had been hurting an innocent family. They needed to learn that their actions had consequences. She decided to teach them a lesson they would never forget. Maya released the big man and stepped back. He rolled over and sat up slowly. His arm hurt badly and his pride hurt even worse. He looked up at Maya with hatred in his eyes. The young man with the knife moved closer. He held the weapon out in front of him like he had seen in movies. But Maya could tell he did not really know how to use it. Real knife fighters held their weapons differently. They moved their feet in specific ways. This young man was just trying to look dangerous. Maya waited until he was close enough. Then she moved like lightning. She grabbed the young man's wrist and twisted it hard. The knife fell to the ground with a clatter. Before he could react, Maya swept his legs out from under him. He hit the pavement hard and gasped for breath. "Down, 4 to go," Maya thought to herself. The remaining men looked scared now. They had not expected any real fight. They thought they could push around a helpless family without anyone stopping them. Now they faced a woman who moved like a trained fighter. Maya picked up the knife and threw it into a nearby trash can. She turned to face the other 4 men. They stood in a group, but she could see they were not sure what to do next. "This is your last chance to leave," Maya said. "Take your friends and go home." Do not come back to bother this family again. The big man got to his feet slowly. His face was red with anger and embarrassment. He had never been beaten by a woman before. His friends would never let him forget. This moment. Who are you, lady? He asked while rubbing his sore arm. Maya did not answer. She did not want these men to know about her military background. She just wanted them to leave the family alone and go away. But the big man was not ready to give up. He signaled to his friends with his eyes. Maya saw the signal and prepared. Herself, she knew they were about to attack her all at once. The 4 remaining men spread out in a circle around Maya. They thought if they came at her from different directions, she could not fight them all. This was a common mistake that untrained fighters made. Maya had faced multiple attackers many times during her military service. She knew exactly what to do. The key was to keep moving and never let them surround her completely. She had to take them out quickly before they could organize their attack. The first man rushed at Maya from her left side. She sidestepped and used his own momentum against him. She grabbed his shirt and helped him run straight into a parked car. He hit the metal bumper hard and slumped to the ground. A second man tried to grab Maya from behind while she was dealing with the first attacker. But Maya heard his footsteps and spun around. She drove her elbow into his stomach with precision. The man doubled over and fell to his knees, gasping for air. The remaining 2 men hesitated. Half their group was now on the ground. The small woman had not even broken a sweat. She stood ready for their next move with the confidence of someone who had done this many times before. Maya looked at the 2 men still standing. One was middle-aged with gray hair and a beer belly. The other was skinny and looked very nervous. Neither one seemed eager to continue the fight. Smart choice, Maya said when she saw them backing away. But the big man was not finished. While Maya watched the other 2, he picked up a piece of broken concrete from the parking lot. He threw it at Maya's head as hard as he could. Maya saw the concrete coming and ducked. The chunk of stone flew past her ear and crashed into the windshield of a nearby car. Glass scattered everywhere with a loud noise. Now Maya was truly angry. Throwing objects could hurt innocent people. The family with children was still nearby. Flying glass could cut them. This man had crossed a line. Maya walked toward the big man with purpose in her steps. He tried to back away but stumbled and fell down again. Maya stood over him with fire in her eyes. You could have hurt those children, she said in a voice that made the man shiver with fear. The big man looked up at Maya and finally understood. This was not just some woman who got lucky. This was someone with real training and real skills. Someone who knew exactly how to hurt people when necessary. Maya reached down and grabbed the front of the man's shirt. She lifted him to his feet easily. Her strength surprised him again. Where did this small woman get so much power, if I see? You bothering innocent people again, Maya said quietly. Next time will be much worse for you. She released his shirt and stepped back. The big man and his friends gathered themselves up slowly. They looked at Maya with new respect and fear. Without saying another word, they walked away as quickly as they could. Maya watched them leave to make sure they were really gone. Only then did she turn to check on the family by the broken car. Maya walked slowly toward the family by the broken car. She kept her movements gentle and calm. She did not want to frighten the children after what they had just witnessed. The little ones had already seen enough violence for one day. The young mother was still holding her baby close to her chest. The infant had stopped crying but was making soft whimpering sounds. The 3 older children stood behind their mother like small soldiers protecting their leader. Maya stopped a few feet away from the family. She smiled warmly and spoke in a soft voice. Are you all okay? Maya asked. Did those men hurt any of you? Young mother looked at Maya with wide eyes. She had watched this small woman defeat 6 grown men without breaking a sweat. She did not know if she should be grateful or afraid. We are not hurt, the mother said in accented English. Thank you for helping us. I am a Mira. Maya nodded and introduced herself. She could see that Amira was still shaking from fear. The children were quiet, but their eyes showed they were still scared. What is wrong with your car? Maya asked as she looked at the old vehicle. Amira explained that the engine had stopped working while she was driving home from the grocery store. She had called her husband, but he was at work and could not come right away. She was waiting for help when the angry men arrived. Maya walked around the car and looked under the hood. Her father had been a mechanic and had taught her about engines when she was young. During her military service, she had learned to fix many different types of vehicles in the field. The problem was easy to spot. A belt had broken and fallen off the engine. It was a simple repair, but the family would need to buy a new belt and have someone install it. The belt is broken, Maya told Amira. Your car cannot run without it. But it is not expensive to fix. Amira looked worried. She explained that money was tight for her family. Her husband worked 2 jobs, but they still struggled to pay all their bills. A car repair bill would be difficult right now. Maya understood financial problems. When she first left the military, she had very little money saved. Finding work as a veteran was harder than she expected. She remembered what it felt like to worry about every dollar. Where do you live? Maya asked. I can give you and the children a ride home. Amira hesitated. She was grateful for Maya's help, but she had been taught to be careful about accepting rides from strangers. Maya understood her concern. I know you do not know me well, Maya said. But I promise you will be safe. I just want to help you get your children home. Something in Maya's voice convinced Amira to trust her. This woman had risked her own safety to protect them from the angry men. She had shown nothing but kindness since the fight ended. Amira gathered her children, and they walked with Maya to her car. It was a simple sedan, clean but several years old. Maya opened the doors and helped the children get settled in the back seat. She adjusted the seat belts to fit them properly. As they drove through the neighborhood, Maya asked Amira about her family. She learned that Amira and her husband had moved to America 3 years ago from Syria. They had left their home country because of the war that was destroying everything they loved. Amira's husband worked at a restaurant during the day and cleaned offices at night. Amira stayed home with the children but was hoping to find work soon. The oldest child, a 10-year-old boy named Omar, was already learning English quickly and helping translate for his parents. Maya felt a connection to this family she had seen the effects of war in many countries during her military service. She had met refugees who had lost everything but still hoped for a better life. These were good people who deserved a chance to build something new. When they reached Amira's apartment building, Maya helped carry the groceries up to the 3rd floor. The apartment was small but very clean. Amira had made it feel like home with colorful blankets and pictures of family members. Please stay for tea, Amira offered. It is the least I can do after what you did for us. Maya accepted the invitation. She sat on the floor with the children while Amira prepared tea in the kitchen. The kids were curious about Maya but still shy after the scary experience. Maya pulled out her phone and showed them pictures of animals from the shelter where she volunteered. Soon the children were laughing and asking questions about the dogs and cats. The fear slowly left their eyes as they focused on the cute animals. Omar, the oldest boy, asked Maya how she learned to fight like that. Maya thought carefully about how to answer. She did not want to frighten the children with stories about war. I learned it in the army, Maya said simply. Soldiers have to know how to protect people. Omar's eyes grew wide with interest. He asked if Maya had been in real battles. Maya nodded but did not give details. Instead, she talked about how soldiers also helped build schools and hospitals in other countries. When Amira returned with tea, she and Maya talked about life in America. Amira shared her hopes and fears for her family. She wanted her children to have good educations and opportunities she never had. Maya told Amira about resources in the community that could help. There were English classes at the library where Maya worked. There were job training programs and childcare assistance. Maya wrote down phone numbers and addresses on a piece of paper. As the evening grew late, Maya prepared to leave. Amira walked her to the door and thanked her again for everything. "I do not know how to repay your kindness," Amira said with tears in her eyes. Maya smiled and put her hand on Amira's shoulder. "You do not owe me anything. Just take care of your beautiful family." As Maya drove home, she thought about the events of the day. She had left her apartment that morning, planning to buy groceries and spend a quiet evening at home. Instead, she had been reminded of why she became a soldier in the first place. Maya had joined the army to protect innocent people from those who would hurt them. Today she had done exactly that, even though she was no longer in uniform. The skills she learned in the military were not just for combat zones. They could be used anywhere people needed protection. When Maya reached her own apartment, she called her old army friend Jessica, who lived in another state. They talked every few weeks to check on each other. Jessica had also struggled with adjusting to civilian life after their military service ended. Maya told Jessica about meeting Amira's family and the confrontation with the bullies. Jessica was not surprised that Maya had gotten involved. She knew Maya had always been the first to help anyone in trouble. "Sounds like you found your purpose again," Jessica said. "Maybe this is why you ended up in that neighborhood today." Maya had not thought about it that way before. She had moved to Riverside looking for peace and quiet. But maybe what she really needed was a way to continue serving others, even without wearing a uniform. Before going to bed, Maya made a decision. Tomorrow she would go back to check on Amira's car and see if she could help get it repaired. She would also look into other ways to help refugee families in the community. Maya realized that being a protector was not just her job in the military. It was who she was as a person. And there were people right here in her own neighborhood who needed someone to stand up for them. The next morning Maya woke up early as she always did. Military training had taught her to rise before dawn and start each day with purpose. She put on jeans and a simple t-shirt, then drove to the community center parking lot where Amira's car was still sitting. Maya looked under the hood again to confirm what parts were needed. She wrote down the car's make and model, then drove to the nearest auto parts store. The clerk behind the counter was a friendly older man named Pete who had worked there for 20 years. Pete helped Maya find the right belt and showed her some tools she might need. The total cost was $43. Maya paid without hesitation. She had learned to fix many things during her military service and enjoyed working with her hands. When Maya returned to the parking lot, she found Amira and her children waiting by the broken car. Amira looked surprised to see Maya back so soon. "Brought the part your car needs," Maya said as she held up the small bag from the auto parts store. "You did not have to do this," Amira protested. "We cannot accept such kindness from someone we just met." Maya smiled and opened her toolbox. "Please let me help. In the army, we always looked out for each other. It is just what people should do." Maya worked on the engine while the children watched with fascination. She explained what each tool was for and let Omar hand her the parts she needed. The boy was eager to learn and asked many questions about how cars worked. Within 30 minutes, Maya had the new belt installed. She started the engine and it ran smoothly. The children cheered and clapped their hands. Amira had tears of gratitude in her eyes. "How much do I owe you for the part in your work?" Amira asked. Maya shook her head. "Consider it a welcome gift to the neighborhood. I am just happy your family has transportation again." As they talked, Maya noticed a man walking toward them across the parking lot. He was tall and thin with graying hair and wore a neat business suit. His face looked serious but not unfriendly. The man introduced himself as Robert Chen, the director of the community center. He had seen Maya working on the car from his office window and came out to meet her. I heard about what happened here yesterday, Mr. Chun said. Several people called to tell me about the incident with those troublemakers. Maya felt uncomfortable with the attention. She did not like people making a big deal about what she had done. In her mind, she had simply helped someone who needed it. Mr. Chun explained that the community center had been having problems with groups of angry young men bothering families in the area. The police were aware of the situation, but could not be everywhere at once. What you did yesterday was very brave, Mr. Chun said to Maya. But I am concerned those men might come back and cause more trouble. Maya had thought about the same thing. Bullies often returned when they felt embarrassed or defeated. The men from yesterday might want revenge against her, or might take out their anger on other innocent families. Mr. Chun asked Maya if she would be willing to help the community center develop a safety program. They wanted to teach people basic self-defense and create a neighborhood watch group. Maya's military background would be valuable for training others. Maya considered the offer carefully. She had moved to Riverside looking for a quiet life away from conflict. But she was beginning to understand that avoiding problems did not make them go away. Sometimes good people had to stand up and make their community safer. I would be happy to help, Maya said finally. When can we start? Mr. Chun's face lit up with relief and gratitude. He explained that many families in the area were immigrants like Amira's family. They often felt afraid to call for help when they had problems. A community safety program could give them confidence and skills to protect themselves. Maya agreed to meet with Mr. Chun the following week to discuss details. They would start with basic self-defense classes and then expand the program based on what people needed most. After Mr. Chun left, Maya drove Amira and the children home. On the way, Amira talked about how different America was from what she had expected. Some people were very kind and helpful, like Maya, but others were filled with anger and hatred toward anyone who looked different. Maya understood these feelings. During her military service, she had worked with local people in many countries. She had seen how fear and misunderstanding could turn neighbors against each other. She had also seen how a few brave people could make a difference by bringing communities together. When they reached Amira's apartment building, Maya was invited upstairs for lunch. Amira had prepared a traditional Syrian meal with rice, vegetables, and spiced meat. The flavors were wonderful and reminded Maya of meals she had shared with local families during her overseas deployments. During lunch, Maya met Amira's husband, Hassan, when he came home from his morning job at the restaurant. Hassan was a gentle man who spoke broken but enthusiastic English. He thanked Maya repeatedly for helping his family and protecting them from the angry men. Hassan told Maya about his life in Syria before the war. He had been a teacher and Amira had worked as a nurse. They had owned a small house and had plans for their children's education. Then the bombing started and they lost everything except their lives. Maya listened to their story with deep respect. She had seen war zones but had never experienced losing her home and being forced to start over in a foreign country. These people had incredible courage and strength. Hassan asked Maya about her military service. Maya shared some of her experiences but focused on the positive aspects. She talked about building friendships with soldiers from different backgrounds. She described helping local communities rebuild after conflicts ended. Omar, the 10-year-old boy, was especially interested in Maya's stories. He asked if she missed being in the army. Maya thought about the question carefully before answering. I miss working with my team and having a clear mission, Maya said. But I think I can still help people here in different ways. As the afternoon went on, more neighbors stopped by Amira's apartment. Word had spread quickly about the woman who had protected the family from the bullies. People wanted to meet Maya and thank her for standing up to the troublemakers. Maya met Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman from Mexico who lived on the second floor. She met the Patel family from India who ran a small grocery store nearby. She met David, a young single father who worked nights as a security guard. All of these people had stories about being bothered or threatened by groups of angry men in the neighborhood. They felt helpless and afraid, but did not know what to do about it. Maya realized the problem was much bigger than she had first understood. By evening, Maya had made a decision. She would not just help with the community center's safety program. She would take a leadership role in organizing the neighborhood to protect itself. These good people deserve to feel safe in their own community. Maya exchanged phone numbers with several neighbors and promised to stay in touch. She told them about the upcoming meeting with Mr. Chun and invited anyone interested to join the discussion about community safety. As Maya drove home that night, she felt something she had not experienced since leaving the military. She felt like she had found her mission again. Instead of protecting people in foreign countries, she would protect people right here in her own neighborhood. The quiet life she had been seeking suddenly seemed less important than the chance to make a real difference in her community. 3 weeks later, Maya stood in front of 45 people gathered in the community center's main room. She had never expected so many neighbors to show up for the first safety meeting. Word about the program had spread throughout the neighborhood faster than anyone anticipated. Maya looked out at the diverse group of faces. There were elderly couples, single parents, teenagers, and families with small children. She saw Amira sitting in the front row with Hassan and Omar. Mrs. Garcia had brought her adult daughter. The Patel family was there with their 2 teenage sons. Everyone looked hopeful, but also nervous. Many of these people had never been to a self-defense class before. Some were not sure what to expect from a former soldier who looked so small and quiet. Maya began the meeting by sharing her own story. She explained how she had joined the army to protect people who could not protect themselves. She talked about learning that real strength came from helping others, not from hurting them. The goal of our program is not to create fighters, Maya said clearly. The goal is to help everyone feel safe and confident in their own neighborhood. Maya introduced Mr. Chun, who explained the community center's resources. They had meeting rooms available for classes. They had contacts with local police who supported the neighborhood watch program. They even had a small budget to buy basic safety equipment. Then Maya began the first lesson. She taught simple techniques for staying aware of surroundings. She showed how to walk confidently and avoid looking like an easy target. She explained how to make noise to attract help if threatened. The class practiced basic escape moves. Maya demonstrated how to break free if someone grabbed your wrist or arm. She showed safe ways to create distance from an attacker. Everyone worked in pairs and helped each other learn the movements. Omar was one of the most eager students. The 10-year-old boy practiced every technique seriously and asked thoughtful questions. Maya could see he wanted to be able to protect his mother and younger siblings if needed. At the end of the 2-hour session, Maya asked for volunteers to help organize regular meetings. 12 people raised their hands immediately. They formed a planning committee and scheduled weekly classes for the next 2 months. As people were leaving, Mrs. Garcia approached Maya with tears in her eyes. She explained that she had been afraid to leave her apartment alone for months. Groups of young men often hung around the building entrance and made crude comments when she passed by. After tonight, I feel like I have some power back, Mrs. Garcia said. I am not helpless anymore. Maya hugged the elderly woman gently. This was exactly the kind of impact she had hoped the program would have. People needed to feel capable of taking care of themselves and each other. Over the following weeks, the safety program grew beyond Maya's wildest expectations. The weekly classes attracted new people every time. Maya taught different skills each week, from basic first aid to home security tips. But the most important development was how neighbors began looking out for each other. They exchanged phone numbers and created group chats to share information. They organized walking groups so people did not have to go places alone. They started a buddy system for elderly residents who needed help with shopping or appointments. Hassan proved to be a natural leader in the group. Despite his limited English, he had a gift for bringing people together. He organized potluck dinners where families shared food from their home countries. These gatherings helped neighbors get to know each other as real people instead of strangers. Also worked with David, the single father who worked as a security guard. His professional experience complemented Maya's military training perfectly. Together, they developed a comprehensive neighborhood watch system with scheduled patrols and communication protocols. The program's biggest test came on a rainy Thursday evening in the 6th week. Maya was at home when her phone rang with an emergency call from the group chat. A family was being threatened by the same group of men who had bothered Amira weeks earlier. Maya grabbed her jacket and drove quickly to the reported location. She found 8 neighbors already there, including Hassan, David, and 2 of the Patel teenagers. They had surrounded a car where a frightened family was trapped, while 3 angry men shouted at them. But this time was different from the first incident. The bullies were outnumbered and facing people who looked confident and prepared. Maya could see immediately that her neighbors had learned well from their training. David stepped forward as the group's spokesman. His security guard uniform and calm demeanor gave him natural authority. He told the angry men that they needed to leave immediately, or the police would be called. The bullies looked around at all the neighbors watching them. These were not helpless victims they could intimidate easily. These people were organized and ready to protect each other. Maya stayed in the background and let her neighbors handle the situation. She was proud to see how they worked together, without needing her to take charge. The weeks of training had given them skills and confidence. The confrontation ended peacefully when the bullies realized they were outnumbered and outmatched. They got back in their car and drove away without causing any violence. The threatened family was safely escorted to their home by several neighbors later that evening. Maya met with the planning committee to discuss what had happened. Everyone was excited about how well the neighborhood response had worked. They had protected innocent people without anyone getting hurt. Mr. Chun announced that the community center wanted to make Maya's program permanent. The city council had heard about their success and was interested in expanding similar programs to other neighborhoods. Maya was offered a part-time position as community safety coordinator. Maya accepted the job offer gladly. She had found her new mission in life. Instead of serving her country in uniform, she would serve her community as a civilian. The work was different, but the purpose was the same. 6 months later, Maya stood in the same community center room, addressing a crowd of over 100 people. Representatives from other neighborhoods had come to learn about starting their own safety programs. Local news reporters were there to document the success story. Maya looked out at the audience and felt deep satisfaction. In the front row sat Amira with her family. Omar was now fluent in English and served as a junior instructor for the children's safety classes. Hassan had been elected president of the neighborhood association. Mrs. Garcia sat proudly with her daughter, both of them wearing matching t-shirts that said Community Safety Volunteer. The Patel family had opened their store as an official safe haven for anyone who felt threatened on the street. Maya had learned something important during these months. Real victory was not about defeating enemies in combat. Real victory was about building communities where people looked out for each other. It was about turning strangers into neighbors and neighbors into friends. The quiet woman, who had just wanted to buy groceries, had become the heart of a movement that made an entire neighborhood safer and stronger. Maya had found her true calling not in war zones halfway around the world, but right here at home among people who needed someone willing to stand up and make a difference. As Maya began her presentation to the visiting neighbors, she smiled, thinking about how much her life had changed. Sometimes the most important battles were fought not with weapons, but with courage, compassion, and the simple decision to help others when they needed it most.